So, Josh, you alluded to the big news as we're recording this just yesterday, the handshake agreement between UPS and the Teamsters. If we think back to January, the headlines that we were talking about in this industry too were the largest rate increases ever. You know, those pretty big numbers. And I was just talking about this last night. It's not like, you know, UPS is just going to absorb that margin, right? There's going to be a certain amount that's going to get passed on to the shipper from this agreement. So I guess, how are you thinking about that as you look at, and the details haven't come out yet, but this agreement on the heels of one of the largest price increases already, like, are these sustainable? There aren't a lot of industries today that you just get these large percentage price increases that are well broadcast to the entire market. So where are you seeing these go in the industry?
Well, UPS has known that they're going to be paying the Teamsters more, once this new agreement is implemented. They've known that for a long time. So they've been planning for this, but also they know that when people see numbers like, the union said that this is going to add $30 billion in cost to UPS over the 5-year contract, right? And it's heavily loaded in that first year. So I think part of what they've done here is to start to ramp up to cover some of that cost. Now, when people see that number, they're expecting another big rate increase, and they're right. There's no reason for UPS not to, because people are expecting it and going to be willing to pay it to a certain amount. It really impacts the smaller shippers the most, the ones that don't have any, rate cap protection, things like that. But yeah, everybody's going to be paying more as a result.
Mhm.
I think it's interesting, Josh. The UPS strike threat was obviously top news. FedEx is also in discussions with their pilots union, and the pilots are asking for a hefty price or salary increase, pay increase, just like some of the pilots in the passenger realm have gotten recently. And so I'd be curious for your thoughts, on FedEx in particular, and kind of what this means for FedEx shippers. Is it the same mentality? Is it the same mindset that they're kind of approaching 2024 in?
So they're governed by different laws, the pilots and UPS drivers. But yeah, the FedEx example is really interesting. They haven't had an updated contract for about 2 years, and they reached a handshake agreement. The union leadership did the tentative agreement with FedEx just last month, but then the union members voted it down. It was a 30% increase in pay, 30% increase in retirement. So a pretty good deal. But only a couple of weeks after that handshake agreement, United announced that they got a 42% increase. United Pilots got a 42% increase. So yeah, you see union members trying to flex their muscles a bit. There's not the same strike risk with FedEx pilots as there is with ground drivers, UPS ground drivers. So I don't expect it to actually hurt service, but it's a distraction, at least. And it does kind of pull FedEx into that conversation of, can you guys take care of your employees so we can just get back to shipping packages?
Interesting. So how is that manifested to a client that ships with UPS or FedEx, when these price increases come to fruition? What should a shipper kind of expect to see from a bottom line increase? And, how is that manifested? How is it communicated? What are the line items that they might pull, or what levers might they pull to kind of get that increase in there?
So for this year, 2023, the announced increase was 6.9%. That's, they call it an average, but really nobody has an average of exactly that, or it's very rare to have an average of exactly that. Depending on the characteristics of your packages, you might have significantly higher or maybe even a little bit lower. But on top of that, that doesn't include surcharge increases and things like that. So a lot of shippers end up paying 10%, 11% more year over year. And UPS and FedEx don't explain it. Really, they just give you that average 6.9% and let it go. So it's tough if you're a shipper and you don't have access to good data analytics capabilities, it's really hard to budget for what that increase is going to do to you. That's a big part of the service that we offer. Part of the reason that people come to us is to understand that and then push back against it, try and minimize it.